Luxair 25 Hotel, contact Reims 134.405, goodbye.
134.405, that's it.
Ocean 577 Hotel, descent flight level 200.
Flight level 200, Ocean 577 Hotel.
Flight level 310. Flight level 310, Turkish to Romeo. Uniform Vector, bonjour, to Lutix and Bennett 1 Romeo. Lutix, Bennett 1 Romeo, and Uniform Lufthansa 8 Uniform Vector, descent flight level 200. Lufthansa 8 Uniform Vector, descend at 200. Bonjour, c'est Jet 45 Convergers, niveau 200 sur Tokyo. Jet 45 Convergers, bonjour, contact final.
Swiss Radar, good evening, Darwin 017 reaching level 150 on course to Southern.
Darwin 017, bonjour, flight level 240.
Level 240 Darwin 017.
Up to 400 Echo, speed 25 on screen. 6050, just 60 Echo. Turkish 2 Romeo Victor, contact West Radar 126.050 over. 126.050 by Turkish 2 Romeo Victor. Quarter 927, call now Swiss Radar on 126.050 over. 126.050 over, 49. Lufthansa 8 Uniform Victor, descent flight level 110 to Saint-Trid. Lufthansa 8 Uniform Victor, descent level 110 to Saint-Trid.
Store 书店，哪儿有好的书店？哪儿有好的书店 ？Where's a good bookstore？
哪儿有好的书店？
去王府井看看，那儿有个不错的书店。
Le directeur d'une unité de recherche à l'Université centrale d'économie et de finance. Il a dit que l'argent de la loterie est une importante source de revenus pour de nombreux gouvernements provinciaux. Et il existe toujours divers risques.
Una reunión informal para tratar varios asuntos, incluido el programa nuclear de la...
Sadece ülkemize değil, Avrupa'ya ve bütün dünyaya da seslenerek diyorum ki, fikir özgürlüğü, hakaret etme özgürlüğü anlamına gelmez. Hem teröre karşı dimdik duracağız ama alemlere rahmet olarak gelmiş olan Hazreti Peygamber'e yapılan hakarete karşı da...
The Islamic Hamas movement also welcomed ICC's decision, saying it is the right step in the right direction. This is CRI News. Maritime safety authorities in East China's Jiangsu province say improper operation caused the tugboat sink on the Yangtze River.
The Council has recently publicized a draft amendment to the law on the administration of tax collection for public opinions. The draft is reported to have many chapters adding clauses of taxation for online deals, while the country's first e-commerce draft law is hopefully set to come out in the second half of the year.
En seconde période est toujours 0-0 ici au Vélodrome. Attention parce que Giresse va pouvoir centrer. Il a pris le meilleur sur JJJ et d'une reprise un petit peu acrobatique Roxani. Mais ce ballon touche. Ils étaient encore un petit peu en train de reculer. Les joueurs de l'Olympique de Marseille.
Côtoyer plusieurs grands noms et maîtres de la musique algérienne tels que Abdelkarim Hamfaji, Mohamed Ben Salman, Hamid Boujaidir. Votre maîtrise du répertoire et de l'alto vous ont ouvert.
Hey guys, this is just a quick update on the Tonfunk that I did a while ago. One of the things that was bothering me a little bit is I cleaned up the needle in the cartridge and it seemed to play records okay. Someone would skip and stuff, and it was really dirty when I cleaned it. This thing had been heavily used in the past. So I set about finding a replacement needle, I mean, I could have paid a fortune to get a new cartridge, but I thought, no, I just need a needle. So it's taken about 6 months, but finally turntableneedles.com got them in stock, and so they sent me one over, and yeah, I can see now. I can't show it to you in the video because I'd need a microscope, but there's 2 needles on here, one for 78s and one for LPs, and then depending on the angle at which this cartridge is held inside in the head shell determines which needle is actually touching the disc. And so what I noticed under a magnifying glass is that the actual needles on here are significantly worn down compared to the ones on the replacement. So I'm glad I waited. I didn't really use it for playing my records because I didn't want to risk it. Now I feel a whole lot better. As I say, sometimes with this restoration stuff, patience is an inherent requirement. So I'm really pleased I got a new needle in this, and I'll probably do a little demo of the Tonfunk, playing a vinyl or two. Hey guys, need some advice on my senior VoltOhmyst. It used to be working fine. Then the other day I was using it, and when I went to check it out on ohms, I got trouble. And I know these things have a little bit of a reputation in terms of reliability on the ohms side. But anyway, so at the moment it's powered up and, you know, heated up and stable and everything. And so it's set on the 15 volts DC positive. So I just got a regular 9 volt battery on here, and so when I connect it up, it swings over to just about 9 volts, which is spot on. Now, as I guess those of you guys who are familiar with it know, when you switch it on 2 ohms, the needle should go over to infinity, and then when you short out the 2 leads, it'll come back to 0. But have a look what happens when I flip it to ohms. Is A, the needle is very slow to get over, and B, it doesn't stop. It keeps trying to keep going. And this has a slight effect on it, but not much. If I short it out, it goes back, but then it takes ages to go over again. And I can't adjust the limit at that end. So I'll move it back into volts, because in case it's stressing the needle mechanism, I don't leave it on ohms. It looks like capacitor sort of problem, but I mean, my first thought was, okay, let's change the dry cell in it, so I replaced the D cell just to be sure. If anything, that's made it worse. So it goes over a bit more aggressively. So, any thoughts on this one? Anyway, let me know what you think, guys. Hey guys, so the loop antenna has arrived. It's still largely in its protective packing, because it's snowing and cold and miserable outside. So I'm not I don't need to get this mounted that quickly. I can wait till the weather eases up a little bit. But I took some photographs of it, you know, in its packing and all the different bits and pieces. It's sort of half put together at this point. So this little unit here, which is called the loop head unit, comes separate, and so you screw it on to the actual loop itself with a couple of stainless steel screws and bolts, and then you have a wire each side connecting to the loop, and then you have the connector for the feeder cable, which goes off to the antenna interface unit. And this guy obviously provides the 12 volts up to the loop here and takes the signal back. Also comes with a wall wart. Now the documentation is very clear that says you must not use a switch mode power supply for any of this. So I'm assuming therefore that inside here is a little baby linear power supply. It's 12 volts at 300 milliamps. So yeah, that's nice to know. Also comes with some documentation obviously on wiring it up and everything. I don't think the documentation is going to win any awards. This is definitely Commodore 64 era graphics, if you know what I mean. But gets the job done, so that's what counts. So, making up a feeder cable, because that does not, it says you have to basically provide your own feeder cable. And so I've made one up, at least for test purposes. And so I had tons of, so what I've done is I had a satellite setup, which used tons of this 50 ohm cable. Obviously because you had to feed voltage down to the low noise block on the antenna, etc. So I'm assuming this cable is up to the task. Now the problem, or the interim problem, is I can't, because of the nature of the building where I live, I can't do any drilling or anything. And so what I did with the satellite is I had this flat cable that you can basically, it goes around the frame of the window. So you open the window and you can put this through. And so, as I said, it worked fine for the satellite feed, so hopefully it'll work fine for this as well. And so, again, for other reasons I'll explain when I get out to mount this thing outside. Mounting it, it said you should really mount it like 6 meters away from the house. Not really practical where I am, which I'll explain later on when we get to it. Anyway, so there we go, the things arrived. It all came nicely packed, and as I say, I'll leave all that stuff on there until we're mounting it up. The other thing it does say, which probably applies in my case, is if you're going to experience high winds, then you probably want to put a vertical piece of wood to support the top of the loop, so all the stress isn't taken up on these joints here, because obviously these are just plastic. So there you go, more to come when I get this thing outside, and we're ready for some testing.